AI teams are learning megawatts don't follow capital. Why megawatts are the new bottleneck for technology infrastructure. The AI infrastructure buildout is the fastest large-scale capital deployment in technology history. It is running into a constraint that hasn't historically mattered much in tech. The grid cannot deliver megawatts at the pace capital wants to move. The technology sector has a long tradition of solving hard problems by deploying capital quickly. Storage bottlenecks. Buy more capacity. Network constraints. Build more fiber. Compute limitations. Add GPUs. The model has worked because the underlying technology components, chips, drives, cables, software, could be manufactured and deployed at a pace that roughly matched investment timelines. Power infrastructure doesn't work that way. The mismatch between how fast AI infrastructure teams can move money and how fast grids can deliver megawatts is producing delays, cost overruns, and strategic setbacks across the industry in ways that are just beginning to surface fully in public disclosures and project timelines. How AI data center electricity demand is straining U.S. grid infrastructure. The numbers involved in AI infrastructure's energy demand are extraordinary in scale and speed. The International Energy Agency's IEA 2025 analysis projected that global electricity consumption from data centers would more than double by 2030, reaching approximately 945 terawatt-hours annually. AI-optimized data centers specifically, the facilities running the training and inference workloads driving the build-out, are projected to quadruple their electricity consumption over the same period. To put that in context, data center load quadrupling over 5 years is one of the fastest sustained demand growth curves any category has placed on power infrastructure in modern history. And unlike most large load categories, AI data centers are geographically concentrated. They cluster in specific markets: Northern Virginia, Phoenix, Dallas-Fort Worth, Chicago, Silicon Valley, where they place enormous localized demand on transmission and distribution infrastructure not designed to absorb it at this pace. How grid access delays are slowing hyperscale AI infrastructure projects in key markets. Large hyperscale operators that have committed to campus-scale AI infrastructure investments in specific geographies are finding a consistent pattern. The land is secured, the hardware is ordered, the construction crews are mobilized, and the power is not available on the timeline the project requires. Utilities in Northern Virginia have implemented formal processes for managing large load interconnection requests, including wait lists that are effectively capacity rationing. Dominion Energy, the primary utility serving the region, has been direct in its public communications about the magnitude of incoming load requests and the timeline required to expand infrastructure to support them. Some projects have been told to expect multi-year waits for full power delivery to large campuses. In the Phoenix market, similar dynamics have emerged as data center investment has accelerated sharply over the past 18 months. In both markets, the pattern is consistent. Capital moves faster than grid infrastructure can respond, and the constraint that results is a physical one that financial engineering alone cannot solve. How leading AI infrastructure teams are adapting their energy strategy to grid constraints. The most sophisticated AI infrastructure teams have adapted in several important ways. Some have moved from concentrated geographic deployment to distributed portfolio strategies, spreading build-out across a larger number of markets to reduce dependence on any single utility's capacity expansion timeline. This sacrifices some operational simplicity, but distributes the grid access risk across a wider base of infrastructure. Others are investing heavily in on-site and near-site generation, including natural gas peakers, fuel cells, and in some cases, small modular nuclear concepts, to provide power that doesn't depend on the transmission grid's ability to deliver at the required scale. A smaller but notable segment is engaging utilities directly as strategic partners, investing in or co-developing the transmission infrastructure that would otherwise sit in a planning queue for years. Why grid access has become a competitive advantage in AI infrastructure deployment. For digital operations and technology infrastructure leaders, the strategic implication is direct. Grid access is now a strategic asset, not a utility service. The organizations that have secured it through geography, through utility relationships, through on-site generation, or through direct infrastructure investment have a competitive advantage in AI infrastructure deployment that cannot be replicated by throwing more capital at the problem. The technology sector built its model on the assumption that capital was the primary input to speed. In AI infrastructure, the binding constraint is megawatts. And megawatts, unlike chips or fiber, run on a timeline that capital alone cannot compress. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.